Our next presenter is Ray Knudson. His presentation is called The Human Touch. Ray is a recent retiree from IBM and a longtime friend of Tony Umeli. His artistic activities have been in the areas of vocal music and woodworking, and he has had a lifelong fascination with archaeology. Aware of this interest, Tony suggested that Ray put together a presentation on cave art. As he got more into the subject, he realized that what really touched him are the attempts by all peoples in all times to communicate with others. As a result, the presentation evolved into its current form. Ray Knudson. I guess.
Yes, Tony, when he found out I was interested in cave art, suggested and actually kind of coerced me into this. I'll deal with Tony later. But seriously, most of what I guess I wrote in there is actually correct. I have been interested in cave art for really my whole life. But as I started looking through the various sources and information, I realized what I really wanted to do was figure out what it meant to be in contact with other people. So you'll see that I explore a number of different areas in this presentation, but I wanted to start with this, which isn't really touch, but it's 6 million years old. I'm calling it a hominid, but really it's very early human. But even in that time, we were able to make physical contact in ways that other animals cannot. Now here we jump forward to only 100,000 years ago. But again, trying to make contact, I believe, this is my opinion, these are giraffes and those were lions in the middle of what we have as the Sahara Desert today. So you know that things have changed a great deal. This is from Lascaux. I'm sure many people have seen this. But it just sort of speaks for itself in my opinion. And if you look, and especially if you see better and broader pictures, it's animal on top of animal. It's all sorts of layers. Again, these are hands, ochre paint. This happens to be from the southwest United States, but these occur all over the world and in all cultures. To me, it's like somebody's saying, hey, I'm here, and I want to make connection, and I want to leave my mark. Now I'm jumping forward now, actually almost into modern time, if you can call 14 centuries ago or 16 centuries ago modern. But this is Akhenaten, the very strange pharaoh of Egypt. He's holding his son. His wife is holding their daughter. This is absolutely unprecedented in Egyptian art. Here, on the other hand, is Ramses II, also known as the Great Pharaoh, celebrated in Shelley's poem as Ozymandias. Obviously, these are modern people, but they are pushing close to this huge statue. They want to be in touch with something that is very ancient and still meaningful to them. This you may or may not have seen before. This is approximately the same time as Ramses the Great. This is what's called a bull vaulter, and these actually took place. This is a huge bull. Think Minotaur. This is actually the same part of the world. And these people would come in and they would jump over the horns, which unfortunately got cut off, and come on in and do their dance. Now, moving into the sort of spiritual phase, this is actually a scorpion, and I intentionally left the airplane in there so you could get some sense of the scale of this thing. There's almost, at least in my mind, no way to appreciate this except from the air. And yet there are hundreds of those out there. Another example, much more familiar to all of us, the Holy Family, if you will, Mary, Joseph, Jesus. Millions of these things, of these types of pictures around, but they're so inspiring to our culture. Note how Mary is reaching up to Jesus, and you get the sense that she's just about to touch him. Sistine Chapel. There's nothing I can say. You've all seen it. It speaks for itself. It's clearly a concept of touch. This I found fascinating. This woman is tattooed, and of course, I don't know what the right word is, a shawl or whatever, but over the entire body and clothing is the word Rama, which is in Sanskrit means Lord. I'm not a Sanskrit expert, but talk about being in touch with divinity. This woman is there. Now, moving to the world of animals, this is Jane Goodall and her friend of 20 years. It's just so touching. It's like 6 million years of evolution just faded away, and these people are just friends sitting down for the afternoon. I just had to put this in because it's for fun. There's nothing profound about this. These are individuals. These are individuals from Siberia. These are domesticated foxes, obviously also from Siberia. And I think it's some kind of a club. But as I was turning pages, I just, that's it. You know, we all have our pets. We all have our animals. They're really something that we make connection with. And of course, there's another kind of connection that we make, and that's with relationships. Starts out with courtship, as you see here. And I promised that, that I wouldn't say too much about this side. But we move on to other aspects of relationship within ourselves. This, of course, you've seen many, many pictures like this. I just have to say, this has to be, at least for me, the most primal, the most fundamental kind of relationship that we as humans have. I actually went out and did a search on mother and child on, I guess it was Google or something. I came up with thousands of hits, whereas other places I came up with a dozen or 5 or something. I also wanted to speak to the idea of family. This is a kind of a community, whether it's our literal family or the group of people we work with or play with or just meet on the beach. This to me is part of ourselves. This is being in touch with our world. And I just that's funny, I didn't have that reaction. You tell me. I've only got 6 seconds left. These people, 58 years, I lost track of the number of grandchildren, they don't use the word love. They say, we're just in touch. We're just together. Again, this is another picture you've all seen, I think. It speaks for itself. I mean it to symbolize really the future. We are also in touch with the future. This is Neil Armstrong taking a picture of his own boot print, obviously, on the moon. In and of itself, maybe not the only thing, but really fascinating. And then the idea of holding the future in the palm of our hand. That's a computer chip. But in the notes that I took that I realized it was going to be too dark to read, I point out this could just as easily be technology holding us in its palm, because we're riding the technology wave. And then really the ultimate touch for me. I just didn't really want to put words behind this. This to me is just what touch is all about, moving on to the next generation. And I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Gloria Wadzinski couldn't make it tonight.